Well, we got lucky on the third one here too. We're able to use our new 15-ton hydraulic puller. This one came off pretty easy. Got one more back there, one in there. We're gonna need some fire. So we got our gear off, and then we went through. We took, you have to take your hardware on the side off in order to shift the shaft and the bearing in here to get the gear puller in first, right? So we've done that. Then the next step was to remove the 3 bolts that hold our flat plate, our support plate on, and then we're gonna gently smashinate on the ground. We're gonna tap on the ground and knock our cover off, just like that. So the cover's off. We can probably come up with a way to put this in the press now and disassemble everything else. Yeah, we're a little crooked, but that's okay. Let's see if this is gonna work. I've got it jigged up here. 2 options. It's either gonna work or it's not gonna work. But we have our safety glasses on, and we are a relatively somewhat safe-ish distance away. There we go. It popped. So we broke our bond, and it is pressing out. That wasn't so bad. You just can't get to it with the either a 2 or a 3 job puller. Yeah, words, sorry. Because the service is uneven. We have reached the end of our travel here. I don't know how much more we have to go. Probably not much. Are we not quite loosey-goosey yet? So let's back it up a little bit. And I'm gonna put a longer intermediate piece in here. Or a socket, that works too. Less work that way, right? Like I said, we don't have very much more to go. Kind of got her somewhat squared up there, and make sure our valve is closed. Oh wait, it's not the the cams underneath are hitting the frame. Hold on. Yeah, we can't go any more down. Well, let's see if we can finish this off with the a 2-job puller. It's not, you see how it's not squared up? It's not great, but we've only got about a 1/4 inch left to go. Yeah, blowtorch and some patience, and it finally let go. We need to give this about 30 minutes of cool down time before we try to bring it back inside though. So, time for a break. I forgot something very, very important. It's blue, so you know it's good. This is also blue, but it's not very good. This thing went squirrely. I went to try and invert, and yeah, just kind of a crappy blowtorch tip. That's okay. It was one of the cheapest ones they had. I mean, it's not. I mean, how often are we going to be doing gearbox work in a GS equipped bowling center, right? I wonder if this is going to come up on camera. Let's see if we can determine any amount of twist in these shafts. Just a little bit. Yeah. Teeny amount in all of them, but well, let's compare it to a new one. Really what we're looking for is any warp in the keyway, and that the keyway edge here and the one all the way against the workbench are lined up. These shafts are subjected to a lot of rotational force, and over time they will twist a little bit. So these two are junk. This one is actually pretty good. We don't know if there may be some other issues with it, but we're not twisted. So we're gonna hang on to this one. Ideally, I'd like to make 2 1-to-1s. I have requested that they order another new shaft so we can guarantee that we're gonna have a good rebuild. The other thing also is all of these moving deck scissors cams are either A style or really chewed up. I've got one good one down in the bottom there. So they're gonna need to order one more of the A2 style moving deck scissor cams for Scotch yokes. I've given them part numbers, but now we have to wait and see what parts come in. So one of the things that we have yet to do, I've just been chucking everything back in the buckets as fast as we've been breaking it down. All the bad stuff, we're gonna put it out in the dumpster. All the good stuff is gonna get cleaned and, if needed, painted. Our new 1-to-1 plate, our support plate, that doesn't need paint because it's brand new. But we will need another support plate. But some of these other bric-a-brac, nicky-knack type things, we're gonna get them cleaned, polished up, kind of half-ass good, and repainted if needed. You guys time traveled. It's the next day, but we are cleaning with acetone. If we have some stubborn stuff, we can move up to lacquer thinner, or brake cleaner, or carburetor cleaner. Doesn't matter. We need to get all the crust off of this stuff. Maybe I'm being too harsh. Maybe we should call it patina. You ever have like a dream where you're running and you're not going anywhere? This is kind of like that. One eternity later, we've got everything cleaned off. Check that out. This is the one that I cleaned. That's like factory, but it's been sitting on a shelf for a little while. This one's a little brighter. I haven't polished it. I'm not sure if I'm gonna get that deep into it. But yeah, anything that needs to get painted, we're gonna bring to the paint department. They're on the ground, on the floor below us. Like, literally, we're gonna paint everything right there. So we've dropped a new bearing in here. We're gonna get our bearing retainers tightened. Then we're gonna flip it over. And where's my oil seal? We're going to install a new oil seal, and then this one's done already, right? It came from the factory like that. Then we are going to start, well, hold on. We have to wait for paint to dry, and then we'll reassemble. All right, so that's it for today. We have to wait for some paint to dry. We got most of this stuff polished up. I did start without you. I did one without you. But we'll see if we get another shaft. We've asked for one, right? And another 1-to-1 plate and 2 moving deck scissor cams for lowering links. I said Scotch yokes earlier, but these are for lowering links. So we'll see over the next few days what parts may show up. If needed, we can put this in and start on this. I'd rather not. I'd rather use a brand new shaft, but if that's not an option, this one could be okay enough to run again, right? So now that our paint is all dry and shiny, we can start putting at least one of these units together. I did notice yesterday, after I stopped making videos, I probably should have waited a little longer and let the paint dry. What we could have done is pressed all the shafts and the gears on first, or press the cams and the gear and the bearing on the shaft first, and then we could have installed it and then pressed the big gear on. So we got our sequence of events out of order, but that's okay. We can still do this. That's the wrong button. Stop. Everybody likes a good before and after side-by-side comparison, right? So we'll throw that in there too. But let's take one of our stacks here, and that one, and we'll head over to the press. So here's what I'm thinking. Since we have, basically we have to press this in a recessed position, I'm going to add a couple other bearings I had sitting around. This is going to offset it. So what we're going to do, we're going to invert it. We're going to go upside down. We're going to put this end down towards the arbor plates and just press everything in. Should work out real good. Kind of like this. That should be plenty. Let's get it started. Okay. We should be pretty much lined up on our keyways here. We're not using a lot of tension yet, right? If we feel the pressure starting to creep up, then we know we may have a keyway misalignment. And right there. No, it went. How are we looking? Pretty close. We got about a 1/4 inch to go. Well, we're seated. We just got tight. Cool. One slight mistake that I'd like to point out. I didn't put this spacer in there because I was assuming this bearing would slide off. But we have inadvertently slightly pressed this onto our shaft as well. So we need to come up with a way to remove this bearing. And then we'll get our spacer on. And then we'll put our bearing back on. Yeah, remember that medium-sized puller that I trashed? We need it. That's okay. These are too big to get under the bearing. So I've got another one out in my car. I'm going to go grab it. Somebody got kind of upset on one of the other videos that I was using power tools on a hand gear puller. But it's fine. It's fine. It's totally fine. I did have to modify the jaws on this. I took about 4 millimeters off of these so they would fit properly. But there you go. She's in there. Now it's time for our new top plate. So I went to go put the plate on, and I'm surprised. You guys, maybe somebody told me, but I didn't hear you. But spacer and bearing are backwards. Putting the plate on did not work properly because the bearing wasn't even in the plate anymore when it was seated down. Okay, this is correct. Let's try that again. There you go. Do we have some witness marks here from hammer hits? Yes, because this was a very tight fit, and I began to get a little bit frustrated at the difficulty at which I was having installing this, so I used a hammer to help me out. Sue me. So we've got our moving deck scissors selector latch installed and our safety stop block here. I always position the block like this. I don't know if it matters. Does it matter? If you know, let me know, because I don't know. So the detector on an A or an A2 pin setter, you know, let's talk about it a little bit. Really, it's just a gear and a shaft. It's driven 1 revolution per cycle. And it's just a series of levers and cams with high spots and low spots, right? So depending on what point of the cycle and the position of the detector disc, a particular cam is controlling a lever. That lever is either blocked or allowed to rotate at a particular point in time throughout the machine cycle. I mean, check it out. It's just levers. Selector, controller, latches, levers, shafts. It's not super duper complicated, but it does take a little bit of learning, right? You're not going to learn how all this works in a day, but Most of you probably have access to the internet on your cell phone, right? So check this out. Let's type it in here. A2 service manual. Pardon my horrible typing skills. Look at that right there. Just download it to your computer, your smartphone. It's the entire service manual. It explains what the parts are, theory of operation, sequence of events for the entire machine. If you haven't read this, read it. Then maybe come to the internet and ask some follow-up questions. Well, I think that's as far as we're going to get for today. We're going to paint these whenever. It'll be a day or two, but the painted parts are going to get painted. The non-painted parts are going to look exactly how they do now. Nice and shiny.